Hello, all of you beautiful beady people. This is Kimberly with My Beaded Bliss, and I'm gonna open up the Bargain Bead Box Sweater Weather Bundle. I decided to go ahead and do this unboxing because I'm gonna make something afterwards. I'm also taking advantage of the fact that my house is empty, so I can actually record at a reasonable time tonight. So it's only 5:45 here in my neck of the woods, which I'm in Kansas. I'm in the eastern Kansas region. I've said it in other lives, towns I'm close to, or not lives, videos, towns I'm close to. So feel free to watch some other videos if you want to know how close I am to you, if you're in Kansas. Okay, so I'm not going to do this in any kind of order. I'm just going to pull them out of the bag, and whichever one we get first is what we get first. I'm also not going to take everything out of the bag, especially when I know I'm not going to use it right away. So the first item we have are these huge filigree discs. The description says 4-piece 48mm filigree flower components in antique bronze. Okay, these are super, super pretty. I do like them. I don't really do a lot of jewelry with filigree, but let's expand our horizons and maybe try something eventually. Not today. Okay, these are a matte steel blue faceted crystal rondelle. Those are fabulous. Okay, and we've got some toggles. All right, and this is the matte petrified wood. Got some nice colors in here. Typically, I want to see more wood grain in a petrified wood. And I've been told that with the matte, it's just a muted wood grain. But on a shinier, a polished petrified wood, you'll see more of that grain. So, I do like this though. And I love that it's a nice full strand. Okay. And I love these that were in the box. And this is a coating that's on here to give it that glitter on the back here, the gold leaf. And so there is a coating. These are absolutely beautiful. And we've got some flower links. I do like to use links. Oh, these are even chandelier links. They've got 3 on the bottom and 1 on the top. Those are really nice. I've said it in other videos, and as a matter of fact, that video might not be posted yet. It was a soft flex video. I set it in. I am not a fan of round brown beads. These are matte bronzite. And this looks way too much like poo pellets from critters. We raise sheep here, and this is what the poo looks like for sheep. It's just hard for me to work with a bead like this. If this were a polished stone, the bronzite would sparkle and shine, and it would be an absolutely gorgeous stone. But in a matte finish, I can't do it. If you have ever been around even rabbits, they leave behind little round pellets of poo. And to me, that's what this looks like. So this particular bead in this bundle will not get used by me. Okay. This is another matte bead. Looks like this is full of matte beads. And this is an agate, brown agate round bead. It is dyed, and it's also got a finish on it. This one is really interesting. I like the character it has in it, but I don't like it matte like this. I'm just being honest. You're gonna get my honest opinion about things. Okay. And now we've got some of these round glass beads. I don't know if these are opaque or if they have a finish on them. It looks like they might be opaque because I can see it on the inside there with the hole. It might, yeah. I do love the color of these, and I think overall the color complements. The shape is a little odd, but the color is nice. Okay, and then we've got some spacer beads. Some more filigree components here, and these are a connector. So those would be really interesting. I do like this particular bead. I like these electroplated design beads like this. They're beautiful. I don't know that I would pair them necessarily with the antique brass here, but I could pull some silver out of my stash and that would really sparkle those up. I'll just put those back in the bag. All right, mahogany obsidian discs. And these do have some texture to them. I really do like the finish on what they call them, wavy flat round focal beads. Okay. Drill hole isn't quite center on this, which concerns me a little bit because it's right along the edge. But it's a substantial enough piece that it'll probably be fine. And that drill hole is a little bit better. Still not perfect. Still not center all the way, but yeah. I'm sure it'll be fine. Okay. And then we've got a strand of 4mm mahogany beads. Mahogany obsidian, which has got this red mixed in with the black of obsidian. I will have to look it up and see what other elements are in the mahogany obsidian. Obsidian is usually formed with lava, and it's more of a glass, but it's a natural glass because it's lava. It's made from lava. So I'm interested to see what the other components of mahogany obsidian is. So I'll have to do some research and I'll include that in the description of the video. All right. And then we've got some antique bronze bead caps. Bargain Bead Box has the best selection of bead caps. They always have something different. They always have new stuff. Definitely check them out and get some bead caps from them. I will give you a little spoiler. I did order a few extras when the box extras came out and the companion bundle came out. And that includes, I believe I ordered 1 or 2 extra strands of these. They are absolutely beautiful. And this is a half a strand. Fancy cube crystal faceted light steel blue. I love the color of this, and this is so super sparkly. I may save this and use it for my Christmas. I like to do blue in my Christmas designs. And we got some more filigree, and this flower component does match the larger flower component. They're the same style and design, just a smaller size. That's really nice. Okay, then we've got some flower beads in this navy color. Can I open the bag? Okay. Okay. Got some variation in color here. Some are darker than others. I do like that. It's very nice. And I've like made a mess, and it's probably driving some people crazy to see that mess. I have seen other unboxings, and I saw this on the sneak peek. I believe she showed it on the sneak peek. But I love these wood components here. I did order extras of this as well. I will be replacing these round jump rings on it for an oval jump ring, because that just signifies this is going to fail. So the jump rings on here are not closed properly, so they will get replaced with oval jump rings. I'm also going to do a little wash of some patina paints on here, because I feel like it just needs a little bit of a whitewash on here. I am also going to use a bronze patina paint color, which I think would be really, really stunning. And I ordered extras, so if I mess them up, that's okay. It'll be fine. No big deal. Lesson learned. Okay, we got some beautiful chain here. Bargain Bee Box always includes chain in their bundles, so you never know what kind you're going to get. But it's always a generous length of chain. This is 3 meters, and this is more than enough to do several projects. All right, and then we've got some opaque gray rondelle bead, or not rondelle, bicone beads. I am going to use these in a future video to demonstrate the right angle weave crystal heart earrings. I think they'd be really pretty in this gray. We also got this amazing mix, and when the extras were released, I did buy extras of this mix. And there are still some of this mix on the website. I might try and get a couple more packages. Okay. I mean, the colors in here are just gorgeous. And I did see one little cat's eye bead. Oh, no, we got a couple. So we have some little cat's eye beads in here. And then we have 2 different sizes of these pearl druck beads in here. It's like a steely blue color. I really like it. Oops, let me just throw that down like that. So we've got some nice bicone colors in here. These muted taupe colors. Just fabulous. I don't think there's enough of the bicones in this mix by itself to create the crystal heart earrings. However, when I get my 2 extra packages, I'll pull out all the bicones and we will see what we have to work with, and if I can use the bicones that are in this mix to make the crystal heart earrings. I think it would be fascinating to see them in the multicolors. We've got some chocolate brown bicones here. There's that taupe. Look at that barnwood red color. So I wonder if there's any mustard, because you see the mustard beads here. I don't see any bicones in the mustard color. But we've got some nice barn red druck beads, some rondelles. I really like these rose, pinky rose colored peanut beads. Those are pretty. So this is just a fascinating mix of all different styles of glass beads. I really do like these cat's eye. There's only 3 of them, it looks like, in my mix. 1, 2, 3. So might be able to do something when I get my extras of this particular mix. In this mix, they called it Autumn Hearth. After seeing this in person, I might just have to go get a few more bags of this mix. I love the pinks in it, the taupes, the browns, the blues, the grays, the reds. It's just, this is amazing. An amazing mix here. So, all right. Now we are going to make something. I'm not going to make anything with this today because I want my extras for that. I'm not going to do the hearts today, so we'll put those away. I might leave the bead caps out. So let's put stuff in the bags while I think about what we've got here. Okay. I'm definitely not going to use these agates today. I will tell you my favorite item in the bag is definitely that bead mix. I was a seed beader before I started stringing and working with this style of bead. So those really speak to me first because it's got all the shapes and things that you see in a lot of bead weaving. So I'm excited for those. I'm likely going to save these for Christmas, but I might use them in another video. I'm not going to use these today. I know that for sure. Definitely not using those. I'm not painting these today. So, here's the floral chandelier. I'll put those away. And my glass flower beads. Put those away. I think I'm going to use this petrified wood. Okay. I don't think I'm going to use those today. And let's take out one of these toggles because I think a toggle would work out here too. Okay. Let's leave these out. We'll leave the barrels out. Let's do the mat. I want to use these together, so we're going to keep those together. Let's take the spacers. Let's use these blue steel here. And I don't think I'm going to use the chain or any of these filigree components for what I'm going to do. Okay. So I think for this project, I'm going to use these blue steel, the mat, and these red barrels maybe. So let's see. And I think what I want to do is a knotting design. Okay. I am going to be right back. We're going to pause the video here, and I'm actually going to find some of my Amy Mealay of XAZ Beads pendants. I have some autumn leaf pendants that I think would play really well with what I've got in my mind. So I want a focal from my Amy Mealay collection. I'm going to find that, and I will be back with that. Okay, I am back. I have quite a few pendants, but I think this one, it's going to bring in some purples and pinks from these matte beads here. And I think it, you know, the pendant itself will speak with that very, very nicely. I've also got this one. So I'm not really sure which one I'm going to use. I like the shape of this. It's got some of the reds, and again, it's bringing greens in. This has got blue and purple and magenta. Well, I have one other one. Let's see. Let me just grab my box here. Okay. So I've also got, this is not in any kind of order, I've got some pumpkin beads in here as well. Not beads, but pumpkin pendants. I don't think that's what I want. But that one might be a better choice. Okay. Might have to pay attention to Amy's lives, because, or not her lives, her trunk shows, and get some more leaf pendants, because I think that's, I've got one other, but it's got some holes at the bottom here to dangle, and I don't want to dangle anything on for this particular project. Okay. Well, let me think. Well, these holes are big enough that I could put them on a leather. 1.5 is too big. I need a 1/2 millimeter leather, 0.5 maybe would fit. I wonder if I have a red. I just found a stash of 0.5 millimeter leather. Let me see. Grab that. I'm not sure how many yards. That is. I'm not sure that that's the color I want either. Maybe the navy. I think I like the navy. Let me see. I think if I was going to do this, I would need it to be in a much longer because I want to put a knot in between my sections of beads here. Okay. Let's just see what we got. Okay. We'll even go through twice. Okay. Well, that did put my knot backwards. This is the knot I was going for, and I put it on backwards. That happens to all of us at one point, I'm sure. Okay. All right, there we go. Okay. And yes, my knot is going to be a mess, but I'll clean it up. It's okay. It'll be fine. There we go. Okay. And there's my knot. When Amy has a trunk show, she numbers all of her pieces. This was item 12 in the lot. Just take that sticker right off. Okay. You know, I might grab a couple of the seed beads from that mix because I need a small bead to kind of separate out my leather before I start using these larger beads. So let's grab the mix and we'll pick out some of the red seed beads. Actually, instead of using that mix, let me use the one that we just unboxed yesterday, if I can find it. There it is. Okay. Well, I say that. This isn't the one that I want. Where did I put that bag from yesterday? There's that part. There's that part. Okay. All right. So we've got the dark reds in that one. I don't know. I don't think that hole is big enough to fit on my leather, so we won't be using that. Okay, let's just grab a couple of those seed beads out of the value bundle. Cylinder beads, not seed beads. We're going to use just a couple of these darker ones. Just to I think that's what I want to do. Actually, yeah, that won't fit on my leather. But I do like that chocolate brown better. The size of that particular bead better. Let's see, do I have another one? Oh wow. I can dump this whole thing out just to find one bead. Okay. Interesting. I am not seeing a second one of that bead. Huh. Okay. Let's use the darker bicones. Let's see how those look on here. Okay, I don't like it. What about this pink? Because we do have some of that pink in the pendant around the bottom here. Let's use this pink. And we'll use some of the pink stones. Okay. That might be enough to break it up. Okay. Let's get the cutters out and give the leather just a little bit of a tip. There we go. Okay. I don't like the beads there. So let's just do a barrel knot. Let's just do a 2 round barrel knot. And we'll put it down there at the bottom here. Okay. So there's one. And we're going to go back up through. And let's see. Sometimes these work out for me, sometimes they don't, and I have to use the trick, but I'm going to try and walk this down as best I can to the end. Now, because I am using a thinner leather, I don't want to pull this super, super tight. Because it can snap, and I really don't want that. Okay, there we go. Kind of awkward to do this on camera. All right. And there we go. There's one. There's two. And now we're going to go up through. Oops. Okay. Oh, whoops. All right. One. And two. And I made myself a mess again. It's all right. Just bring that, walk that bad boy down there. Okay. Give it a nice little play around. Kind of just twist. Get the knot where you want it. You don't want to pull too hard, because this 0.5 millimeter leather does snap. It will snap on you. So be gentle. Okay. If they don't want to cooperate, just manipulate them as best you can. Okay. Okay. I'm going to clean up this glass bead mix, and I'm going to let my camera cool for a little bit. Yeah, I would love to put that on there, but that's not going to fit on the leather. So we're going to get these beads put away. Let the camera cool off for a little bit. I'm going to go start dinner, and then I'll come back and we will put the necklace together. Hopefully it works out. If it doesn't, well, it is what it is. So I'm not going to use these. I think I'm just going to use these, and we'll throw some bead caps on there. Because I think just capping some of these to go up our leather is going to be all that we need. And we'll likely just finish it off with some leather cord ends and maybe a thicker leather and call it good. Oh, there's a bead. All right, put those right there. All right, well, I will see you back here shortly. Bye. Okay, friends, while I was cooking dinner, I realized something. My leather is not the 0.5, it is actually a 1 millimeter, and it may not fit on the beads. So let's try that real quick. Let's just test a few and see if they'll go on. Oh, perfect. Okay. All right. No problem with that. Let's try our little crystals. Okay. Those are going to be a tight squeeze, but they do go on. I will take that. Okay, I am going to be right back. I want some red in here, but our red from the bag is just, I think, too big. It's going to be disproportionate. So I'm going to get some red crystal rondelles similar to this to add in. And I will be back. Okay, y'all. I went to find the red crystals and I tried on these matte blue and discovered that my cording is different widths at the start, which is the nature of leather. When they stretch it and bind it and all that, sometimes they're just slightly varied in the thickness, but it's varied enough that I cannot get the small rondelle blue beads on here, and I can't get these petrified wood beads on both sides. So yeah, it just kind of sticks. It doesn't go all the way through, and not all of them will even go in as far as that other one did. So I think it's best that I just scrap the leather and go with a traditional C-Lon knotting. So what's going to happen is I'm going to take the leather off of here, and then I'm going to pick out some C-Lon cord, and I'm going to do a double strand on the pendant, and I'm also going to macrame the part that goes through the pendant hole to give it some extra strength. So I'm going to do that, and I'll fast forward through this part of me taking it apart until I get to the cording. I should just cut this off and scrap it all together, but I want to try and save the leather if possible. It's not going to be something I can string beads on per se, but I might be able to use it in other ways, or at least not gemstone beads, unless I have some large hole beads or some gemstones that may have a larger hole than these. So I will hang on to it for that. And that's if I don't break the leather taking it apart, which is entirely possible. All right, come on, come loose. Usually I can just walk it back, but I must have got this side pretty tight. All right, here we go. I got it loose right there. There we go. Okay, and I will set this leather aside and use it on a future project. Nope, I need that bag. I'll just take this bag. Okay, I've got this barn red. Maybe not. Let's see. I think that's a happy medium. We're gonna go with this color. We'll do both colors. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 wingspans. Let's see, do I want 2 wingspans? Yep, well, let's do 2 wingspans of both colors and we'll go from there. Okay. Oops. Now I'm just finding the center. Okay. All right, bring my 4 ends together. Okay. I was afraid of that. So I got too much purple and not enough red. So I need to trim the purple. Not that it really matters at the end of the day, but I'm going to. I want them to be as even as possible. There we go. Okay, and I'm just going to untangle that for a second. Put this clip here in the center. Because that's where I'm going to do my macrame. Spending way too much time trying to find the center. Okay. And I'm not even worried about all the beads on my table at the moment. Okay. And I am going to use this purple because I think that will look best on my purple pendant. Well, my leaf pendant. And I'm just going to do probably about a half a wingspan. Alright, and now I'm just going to do a few square knots. right over left, under and through, left over right, under and through. You need both sides to complete your square knot, and I'm probably just going to do about 10. There's 3. Oops. See? I already messed it up. All right. 3.5. And 4. Okay. 4.5. And 5. 5.5. 6. Whoops. Helps if your scissors aren't on the table with you, so your thread does not get caught in it. Alright, there's 7. 7.5. And here's 8. I think we're definitely going to need the whole 10. Alright. 8.5. 9. 1.5. And 10. Okay. Now I'm not going to trim that just yet. I'm going to test it and make sure that it will cover. And I think it will. Okay. Probably should have gone from the other side, but that's okay. All right, let's put our pendant on. Okay. And we're going to feed the square knot sides through too. And this can sometimes take a little bit of manipulation to get the macrame portion of the through the hole in the ceramic pendant. Sometimes you just need to give her a little wiggle and a little nudge. Come on. I might have to do half hitch knots, and if that's the case, I can definitely take it apart and do that. Ah, there we go. Don't break. Don't break. Don't do it. Oh, yay. Okay, cool. Okay. Now, our little macrame bail fits just fine on there. And the trick now is going to be macrameing them together. Okay. So I'm going to take it off. I think I want to take it off. Let me see. How do I want to do this? Okay. so I'm going to clip those together, and we are going to do the knot. This way. Okay. It is going to be just a smidge tricky, but it's still the same concept. We're just going to go over and under all of these because we want to tie our bail together. So we're going to do 2 or 3 square knots to tie our bail to our cord. And then we're going to burn them off. We'll put a little bit of hypo cement. Oops. I let go of that a little too soon. Okay. I'll put a little bit of hypo cement on there. Okay. Let me just start again. All right, I got the right side, so we're going to do the left side. It's a little tricky because my clips are in the way, and they keep getting hung up. All right. I'm trying not to get them hung up on my clip. All right, let's tighten that one more time. And we're going to tighten that. All right, now I'm going to take this big old clip out of the way because they're just on my nerves. Okay. And we're going to do one more. Okay. There we go. So our bail is done. And I'm going to find my hypo cement that is in one of these drawers up here. I thought I slid it in one of these drawers. There he is. And I'm going to use this little bag here so that I hopefully don't get any glue on me. Okay. The heat from your hand will warm the tube so it'll come through. There's a tiny little bead right there. Okay. And I'm just going to put that little bead on both sides. Even though I'm going to burn this down, I like to have a little bit of glue there. And I'll let that soak in, and there goes the glue on the fingers because I got to get the needle back in. Come on. Oh my goodness. There we go. Fine. Glue on the fingers. So I'll let that soak in for a little bit. And I will go wash the glue off my hands, and I will be back. Okay, while that continues to dry, I'm also going to take my 4 ends here and I'm going to glue them. Now I am going to put some gloves on because I feel like this is the stuff that keeps eating at my skin when I knot. So, let's see if I can look in my drawers here and find my gloves. And they're not in there. Oh, that's because they're right here off to the side because I was painting the other day. Oops, sorry. Didn't mean to hit the camera. Okay. So, I have found that this stuff works way better than any glue I have ever found for making a needle on the ends of your thread. So I'm going to put my gloves on so I don't get glue on my fingers. It's not really glue, it's called fray check. And you can find it in the sewing section of Walmart. You can find it on Amazon. It's readily available. It's easy to get. It's fairly inexpensive. It's pretty good stuff. Highly recommend using it. This is a tip that I got from Cynthia Thornton of Green Girl Studios. This is what she uses, an alcohol-based glue to make her needles at the end of her C-Lon, S-Lon, B-Lon, whatever thread you're going to use. And I'm going to do these one at a time just because it's easier. So I have found that my son likes to play with my glues. So I just kind of like take what's on the tip off here and just rub it in. Okay. I don't need a big needle. Okay, so what I need to do is get an eye pin, which I have right here on my desk, and stab a hole in there because sometimes that gets a little stopped up. That's okay. Just put that back in there and just put some on my thread. Well, my cording is what I'm using. Okay, and I just kind of put it in there, and I'll do that a couple times. Usually it just drizzles right out, but it's got a nice little stop in there, so I'm gonna have to stick my eye pin in there one more time. Okay. And yes, these gloves are way too big for me. We raise sheep, and these are my husband's gloves. He doesn't get me gloves anymore because I don't go out to the barn anymore unless I absolutely have to, and I try to avoid it at all costs because I'm allergic to everything in that barn. The mold, the dust, the mildew, the hay, the sheep, all of it. So he tries to keep me out of it as much as he possibly can. Now that we're down to one child in the house full time, I might have to go out there more often, especially during lambing season when he's out of town. His day job is pretty flexible, so he does try his best to stay home during lambing season when he has ewes due. But it doesn't negate the fact that we still have to check the ewes, because sometimes it's just like anything else, you know, they can go early, they can go late. It's no different than any other animal that has babies, including humans. Yes, we have a due date, but at the same time, our bodies don't always recognize our due dates, and we can go early and we can go late. And it's the same thing with sheep. It's an estimate. You don't know exactly when the ram stuck the ewe. It's an estimate. I do know that he didn't put rams out this year, so we have some ewes that have been AI'd. So the due date is a little bit more precise with those. And they are due around Christmas. So, and he's usually home the whole month of December and the first couple weeks of January, so I don't have to worry about lambing anything out this year either. So it doesn't look like I'll have gloves in my future, unless I go buy them, which I don't use them enough. I can reuse these gloves for months for what I do with them, which is just glue and paint. And I don't really care if I've got residue of glue and paint on my gloves, especially this stuff. It doesn't it'll wash off. It's not super glue. It's not the same. So, oh, oops. I put it on the wrong one, and that's fine. No big deal. Here we go. This is the one I needed to do. Okay. That's all right. Just wipe that glue right off. Okay. There we go. Oops. Okay, there we go. Put the lid on that. And hopefully I won't have those dry fingers since I used my gloves. See what I mean? It just like rolls right off of it. So you just roll that glue right off these gloves. Okay, put that off to the side. All right, so my ends are drying, and this is dry enough to where I can snip and not have to worry about the knot coming loose. Or snip it right there. And we're gonna snip this side as best we can anyway, right there. And I'm gonna throw my ends away because there isn't enough there for me to use in another project. And I accidentally put a needle on one of them, and I dropped my lighter and my little Nomi friend. This little Nomi friend came from Randy at Thunderhorse Descendant. It was in my order. It was a little freebie. I absolutely love it. Super cute. And I did get my C-Lon from Randy as well. Oh. Wonder if I... Okay. All right. So... we're going to give a little, we don't want it to, we just want a little bit on there so we can do that bad boy right there. Okay. There we go. All right. And now I'm going to split my cording here, and I've given myself a little knot. Okay. Okay. Now my ends are hardening up. They are not super hard yet, but they will get there. But they're dry enough to the touch that I can separate them out. Okay. And I have two different colors of thread here, which is what I want. So I want one purple and one red on both sides. Okay. And I'm just gonna tie an overhand knot, a double overhanded knot, because I want to have just a little bit of a space here at the tip. Apologize for the noise. This is my house. I do not have a soundproof studio. My son just got home from football. Okay. I need my tweezers out of the drawer here. And that was my husband that came in the house and got some stuff for barn chores. Working farm here. Okay. That knot is going to help disguise our little knots on the side from finishing up. Hopefully it doesn't bring too much attention to it. If it does, I'll dress it up in some fashion. We'll figure it out. Okay, so this is just a double overhanded knot. And we're going to bring that down. These particular tweezers were a pair that I found in my mom's stash. And this is, she was a quilter, so it was for quilting. Gypsy quilter, I think is what it says. Gypsy quilter. Okay, so there's our knots. And that was my son telling me he was going to the volleyball game. My son is 17 and he is a junior. Okay. Okay, I had to stop the video because my husband and son kept coming in and out of the house. While they were making all kinds of noise, I decided that I wanted to look and see if I could find a large hole antique brass bead that I could fit over the top of my knots in my macrame piece, and I think I found it. So let's try it on and see if it does exactly what I was wanting it to do. Yeah, it fits right on the top of there. It's not going to go all the way down and hit up against my ceramic leaf here, so I'm good with that. And it covers the top of my macrame. And when I put the beads on here, it's not going to go anywhere. It's going to stay put. That's actually going to be perfect. I'm very happy about that. Okay. Now, since I'm not using the leather anymore, I can use the matte beads that I wanted to use to begin with. So, well, let's put one of these beauties on here and see what we got. I'm going to put the other one on just so I can see how they line up. Okay. Let's see if I like those. All right, so I don't think I like the crystals next to each other like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some spacer beads. And I think we got some, actually, didn't we get some leaves in our bundle? Let me pull out the rest of the metal components from our bundle. Because I think our leaves are exactly what I want here. Okay. We may not have gotten leaves. All right, there's the floral chandelier. There's that. Okay, I see chain and a bunch of filigree. So I think our spacers that came in the bundle are definitely those, but in our value bundle that went with this, there were metal components in that. So since I'm using C-Lon instead of leather, I could probably incorporate some of, I think these are too small because I am using larger beads. But here are the spacer beads and the leaves. Okay. So let's do a spacer bead. All right. I'm not going to knot anything down right away. So let's see. Throw out some leaves here too. Okay. Now, let's put one of our matte crystals on. Okay. And now what I want to do is I'm going to do a little section here. So we are going to knot these, not after every single bead, but after sections. Like we'll put a knot after this one, a knot after the crystal, and we'll put this on. Okay. Typically when I knot, I string the whole project and then I put my knots. It's kind of hard, but I usually work off the spool. So it's a little harder to do that. To knot the way I normally knot when I've cut the strands. Huh. Okay. crystal first. Okay. I think I like where it's going. I am gonna try and we're gonna try and go ahead and put the pattern on here. And then I will put a bead stop on the ends and knot them up. Yeah, I think I like where that's going. Okay. Oh, why am I trying to put another leaf on there? That's the wrong one. Okay. Crystal. And we're going to do a bead cap. I think I'm going to use one of these grayer beads here. Let's see how I like that. I don't particularly care. I don't want to stick to a particular pattern within the petrified wood here. There's so many colors and so many variations with it. I think it would do an injustice to not have just a random selection of colors and beads. Oh, I gotta put a bead cap on first because I am capping the petrified wood. Okay. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Okay. Yep. Okay. put one more of these guys on. Yep. I think I'm really gonna like that, actually. So what I want to do is string up the other side just so I can see what they look like side by side and get a nice visual. I am also going to add a little caveat that I may not be able to finish this project today or on this video. It might be something that I have to show later because I don't think I have any knot covers in the antique brass. So, all right, what's going on here? There we go. There was something stuck inside there. So we'll just use the tip of our tweezers to push it out. Okay, sorry about that. Husband came in again, bouncing around in the garage. Well, it's technically our addition. We are converting the garage, been a 17-year project, into more living space. Oh, not a spacer bead, we need the crystal. Crystal. And then a spacer bead. And a leaf bead. And once again, we got a little something stuck in my leaf bead. See if I got it out. Nope. Little piece of grass or something. I think I got it that time. There we go. Spacer beads. crystal, bead cap, petrified wood, crystal, bead cap, I really need a sign from my door that says, "Do not talk to me while I'm filming." Okay. All right, one more set of petrified wood and crystal, and then I'm ready to knot. But I will put these on, put my stopper on, and then I gotta go do the wifely duties and cook dinner, which I'm not a fan of having to do that. I think I'm going to use this one. Let's do that one. That one rolled off the bead mat, so he must want used. Okay. Now you can kind of see where we're at before the knots. We're all strung up. Let's bring them together. Okay. I think that's going to be really pretty when it's all said and done, and I apologize for hitting the camera. Okay, that is really going to be spectacular. I really like that. Okay, let's see, do I have my measuring tape right here by me? I don't see it. I'm curious, but what I do have, we're probably going to add about an inch, I would say, with the knots, maybe 2 inches. So let's see how many inches of beads do I have going on here. I have about 5.5 inches of beads, so we're probably going to add another inch to 1.5 inches with the knots. So 6.5, 7. So that would take me to 14 inches. Okay. So we'll get these knotted up, and we'll probably add another section because we want this to be, and we may not. we're going to play it by ear. We're going to see where we're at after we knot it. But for now, I'll leave this here. I'll go cook dinner and we'll be back to finish it. All right, everybody's fed. The house is somewhat quiet. Let's do some of this knotting. Okay, so I have, let's roll up this side so it doesn't get in our way. I think what I'm going to end up doing is finishing this on a leather. Okay. All right. And then on this side, let's come down here to the end. Okay. And I'm just going to do a small little bundle here. Because I need this to be loose so that we can knot without having to take the beads off the strand. Use my little stoppers I got from my friend Brandy. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to pull these out a little bit. Okay. I should probably put all of these beads away. But for now, let's just move them up off the screen. Okay. I think I only need to do one singular knot. I don't need to do a double knot because this is going to be a little tricky because I do have beads on here. It's not, this isn't the way I typically do this. I'm getting knotted. So we're going to learn as we go. Okay. All right. Because I think a single knot with 2 strands is plenty, large enough of a knot so that it doesn't slip into my beads. Okay. Pull these strands together and that tightens your knot. Okay. All right. Okay. And basically we want to feed our excess through the openings on my finger here and pull them through. And we're going to stick our tweezers into our knot, grasp it down here right at the top of the bead, let go, pull it straight up, release, we're going to push it down, and then we're going to separate the strands and give it a little tug, tighten the knot right there on the bead. Now with this one, I was going to do this whole section as one section, However, I think I want a knot between the metal and the crystal, just to kind of keep the crystal off the metal. Give it a little space. So we're going to try that. And we're not going to fully commit to the knot until I pull down one of the crystals, until I pull the crystal down. Because if I don't like it, it's easy enough to redo it or undo it, as long as we don't commit to the knot. So let's see what we got here. Okay, so I'm going to leave my tweezers in my knot, and I'm going to pull this down. Yeah, I'm going to commit to the knot. Pretty sure that's what I want. I want just a little bit of cushion between the metal and the crystal. Yep. Okay. Did I manage to get myself up in a knot here? I think I did. All right, my apologies. My husband came out and had to have a good night talk, and then I came back and started working on this some more and realized I was not recording. So I've got this much of one side done. I've got one crystal and one section left, and then we have the other side to do. My apologies. I don't know what happened and why it wasn't recording. So let's get these last couple done. And then I'm gonna wrap up. The length of cord that I have left on this side, I'm not gonna trim it down because I'm not sure 100% yet how I'm gonna finish it. If I'm gonna add more beads and bead the whole length, if we're gonna put chain, if we're gonna put leather. I'm just not committed to what we're doing to finish it just yet. All right. But I think what I want to do is add another section with the leaf and end on a spacer. So we're going to add that on. Okay. Get that undone. And let's get our little spacer on. Now I am working with the Sweater Weather bundle. The focals with this bundle were primarily filigree. And I don't do enough work with filigree, or honestly, I'm not a fan I'll probably end up sending all of that filigree to my friend Rosanna and from In Rose's Garden, because she is the queen of filigree. I'll probably keep the connectors because I think I can use the connectors, but those big round pieces of filigree will, I'll send them to her because I can't see myself using them. She turns them into hair barrettes and does just amazing things with that kind of material. Okay. There is one side completely done. I am going to give this a little stretch, and that helped with my knots and straightening them out too. There we go. And that one looks like it's a little too far from the gemstone. Wonder if I can pull that down at all. That's okay. When you're wearing it, gravity takes a hold and the bead caps will stay on. No biggie. It's perfect. Okay. And I'm going to gently tie this up. Okay. And pinch. All right. One side is done. Okay. And I'm going to turn this around and do this side. Let's make it so that the pretty side of the leaf is showing. All right. Yeah, this one's just a little bit more bound here, so I'm going to undo that after I do this first knot. Okay. All right, there we go. Let's undo a little bit of this. Yeah. Okay. All right. Push the beads out of the way. Drop down our crystal. Around the fingers. And we're going to drop these down the hole here between my two fingers. All right, come down here to right on the crystal, pull, pull again, and a third time. It's just going to tighten your knot right up against the bead, and we're going to bring down section number 1. And we're going to drop all this down the hole, come down here, grab, and pull. And pull, and pull again. Okay. Drop our crystal down, and let me just double check I got all my bead caps on. Bead cap, okay, 2, 2, 2, okay, cool. All right, on my 2 fingers, and drop my beads down. All right, there's that. I got my knot a little loose on one of the cords, so you pull that color cord that's a little loose, and that'll tighten that color up. There we go. Went backwards on this one. Okay. Blue crystal. Drop my cord and everything right through. And down. Okay. And my next section is my leaf with the 2 spacers. All right. Through the loop, right above the bead, and we're going to pull. And see the red got a little loose again, so we're going to pull just the red, get that back up there, pull the tweezers out, put them on top of the knot, and pull it down. Whew, that was close. Definitely want to be careful. You don't want your tweezers to damage your pendant if you're using a ceramic pendant. Use force, but don't Hercules it like I just did. Okay. And my red just does not want to stay tight. It's fine. Okay. There's my beads and my cord. And I did not get it through the loop because I dropped it. There we go. And I'm just above my bead cap here, through my knot loop, and we're pulling away from the pendant. Pardon me. Okay. Let's just try not to do that. And that's like the third time I've taken my tweezers off my knot. Okay. Don't need to be damaging my beautiful pendant. Just have like 8 more knots to do and we are good. I need it to stay together for 8 more knots. Okay, I think I was in there. I don't want to be off camera, but I'm trying to avoid my pendant. Okay, so this video will be aired on Friday, September 26th. The Sweater Weather Bundle is available on the Bargain Bead Box website. So you can order this bundle if you don't have it. The only thing that you may not be able to get are these leaf spacers, because they were not part of the September bundle. They were part of the special value bundle that they did the week before the extras were posted. So I want to say they did that on the 10th of September. However, the leaves might be on their website under metal spacers. You might be able to find them there. Same with the regular ball spacers. Everything else I'm using, with the exception of my leaf pendant, is in the bundle. Let me rephrase again. The C-Lon cording is from my stash, not in the bundle. I got this from Thunderhorse Descendant. This was part of some beads I found in my mom's bead stash. And this is a XAZ Beads pendant. But everything that I'm using on the cord is on Bargain Bead Box website. Okay. And there's that. And here's okay. All right, one more little section and we are done with the beaded portion, and I need to figure out how to end. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm going to clean off my mat. And then I will be back so that we can put the finishing touches on our necklace. Oh. Oh, I need to give this side a little stretch so that they match. Okay. Here we go. That is very, very pretty. Okay, I'm gonna put my tweezers away, and I'm gonna let my camera rest for a little while I clean off the mat and come up with how we're gonna end this, and then I'll be back to record that. Okay, so I've decided, since I'm really trying to use more of what's in the bundle, and I added the pendant and this piece here and these pieces from a different bundle, I thought it would be best to go ahead and finish this using some connectors that were in the bundle and the chain. And I did say that we were going to use the toggle. So I don't really like to use a toggle in the back. I prefer it in the front. So I'm going to use this as my connector on one side instead of using this connector. I think they kind of go together, so it'll be a fun, different look to it. Okay, so to put the knot cover on, I've already got my knot here next to my spacer bead, and I've managed to get myself a knot at the end of the one side. So what you're gonna do for the knot cover, this is the only way I like to use these. I do not use these to crimp as a crimp cover. I only use these when I am knotting. It's my personal preference. So this is a little clamshell. All right, so I feed it through the bottom because I want my knot to sit inside. Okay. And then we're just gonna knot this like a regular knot. However, I am gonna double knot it inside the knot cover. And I put my tweezers away earlier, so I'm just gonna grab those right quick. Sorry for the loud noise. It is in my metal toolbox. So, and I'm just gonna knot it like I did everything else. I'm gonna put my tweezers through my loop here and grab my cord right at the base of my knot cover. And I'm going to pull slow so that my knot does not get stuck on any of my beads. Okay. And I did manage to get it stuck on there, so that's okay. We have not committed to the knot, so we'll just pull it off, loosen it up a little bit, because we want to get it up and over. The loop there. Okay, come on. We haven't committed to the knot, so there we go. That is quite the knot for this knot cover. But I'm going to pull each strand tight and double tight, and then I'm going to pull them apart and tighten it even more. Okay. And I'm going to set that aside because I want the other knot cover to be on before I glue it. And I will put, oh my gosh, let me just hit my phone again. I will put some hypo cement on that knot when I close it. That'll help keep the knot, the clamshell closed a little bit more. Okay. And my knot cover. All right, I'm going to open that up just a smidge so that it helps me not get it knotted up again. All right, so we go 1 and 2. All right. All right, come on. There we go. Sometimes you gotta baby the knot. It doesn't want to cooperate. Okay. Now I am going to trim this to about right outside. I do have enough cording to save for maybe a bracelet project, so I will try and save it. Otherwise, the C-Lon is fairly inexpensive. You can just toss it. So you do whatever you need to do for yours. And I have set my lighter down somewhere and I don't see it. I didn't put it back where it goes. Interesting. What did I do with my lighter? Okay. I have a backup. It's not my favorite, but I do have one. While I'm in here, let me get my nylon jaw pliers. Okay. And I'm going to melt this down. Okay. And melt this one down. Yeah, this lighter kind of, the flame goes everywhere. Not a fan. Okay. I like my stick lighter better, and I don't know where I stuck it. Okay. Here's my paper towel. Get some glue on there. I like to put glue on the clam as well. Kind of fill her up. And we got the glue flowing in this guy today. Okay. All right. There's that. And now we're going to close our clam. Give it a nice little close with the nylon jaw. And we'll close it and give it a nice little squeeze. Okay. All closed. It's bent just a little tick there. That's fine. I am going to give this a little torch right here to try and melt that down a little bit. There we go. Looks good. Okay. Now I need a pair of pliers. Okay. There's that. Okay. All right, so now we got to do a little bit of math. We got to see how long our chain is, this portion of our chain, to determine how much we need of chain for the back. So we are at about, okay, so our chain is, let's say 3, 11, 8. So we got 8.5 inches here on each side, which makes it a 16-inch. So I could put a tiny bit of chain here and make it a 16-inch. But I want to make it closer to a 20-inch. Okay, so maybe a 24-inch would be better. And if I'm looking at 8.5 from here to here, I need 4 inches for 20, 8 inches for 24. Okay, and I want to double the chain, so we're going to do 16 inches. Now what did I do with that chain? There it is. Okay. I want to double this chain over. So let's measure out 8 inches. Okay. That works. Now, is this a soldered chain or can I open the link? I can open the link. Okay. Okay. Now, this should line up to where it matches on both sides. Oh yeah. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing with this one. Okay. Now, I'm going to set my chain aside here. I have a loop. All right, so let's get I don't know if 2 jump rings will fit on there, but if it doesn't, that's fine. We're going to try it, and if it doesn't work, we will just use it a different way. We'll just put the other side in the jump ring that's already there, and I do not have that lined up. There we go. Oh man, still not. There we go. Okay. And let's see, can I get 2 jump rings in there? No, I cannot. Okay, that's fine. We are going to open this one back up and drop the chain in it. I need to open that up just a smidge further. There we go. Wait a minute. Wrong side. Here we go. There we go. Okay. And we're going to put this chain and there we have it. There's our necklace. All right. Oh my goodness. And I got the there we go. Okay. There is our necklace. And I will post, you'll see pictures at the end of this video with this hanging on the bust. But our necklace is done. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Maybe eventually I won't be so awkward doing these tutorials, but for now, this is what we got. We are done with this particular necklace, and we'll see you next time. Thank you. Like and subscribe.